Okay, so Mark Carney's busting out the money printer. Stick around if you want to find out how he's actually doing that and printing that money, because it is a little bit more complicated than him just going to the printer like in this picture here. So on November 13th, the Bank of Canada announced that they're going to be starting to buy Canada Treasury bills again. And basically, Canada Treasury bills are this debt, this short-term debt that the Bank of Canada will buy from the government of Canada when the government of Canada is going into debt, okay? And as you can see here, in 2020, we bought like an absolute shit ton of it, and then they stopped buying it for a while. They let it chill out because they had like a bunch of that debt on their balance sheets. I'm not expecting you to remember too much of this, but I'm just kind of giving you the background here. Basically, what you have to know is that the way that money is printed is when debt is created, okay? So right now, the government of Canada needs to borrow money from someone, okay? And no one is willing to lend it to them, okay? So China isn't willing to lend it to them. Our five big banks like CIBC, BMO, all those banks, they're not willing to lend it to Canada. Private investors from like hedge funds and stuff like that, they're not willing to lend it to Canada. So what does Canada do? What does Carney do? Okay. He says, I'm going to borrow money from the Bank of Canada. But I don't know about you, but I'm not able to borrow for myself because I'm not a bank, right? So what happens is when the Bank of Canada buys these treasury bills, okay, new money is created, which the government can then spend to put out into the economy, okay? And they're gonna, they're gonna fund different projects with it. They're gonna give out different subsidies with it, okay? It's the most BS convoluted banking crap ever, but all you have to know is that we're back to printing more money again, okay? The Bank of Canada hasn't disclosed what amounts it's going to be purchasing yet. It's going to be disclosing that on December 9th, but they are going to be starting to buy government debt again to finance this big $78 billion deficit.